pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good evening, and welcome to the 2020 8th grade Moving Up ceremony. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to thank Molly and Ryan Farley for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Imani Curtis for that amazing rendition of the national anthem. I'm so proud of you guys. At this time, I'd like to recognize the members of the Board of Education that are watching. Mr. Frank Sambetz, our Board of Ed President, Mrs. Sandy Nagler, Vice President, and our Board of Ed Trustees, Mr. John Pashnik, Mrs. Dawn Guevara, and Mr. Keith Broadweiser. I'd also like to recognize Mr. Dennis Petrolek, our School Superintendent, Mr. Aaron Brennan, our Business Official, Mr. Ed Spence, our Director of Technology and Instruction, Mr. Rolando Aguilar, our Middle School Principal and Athletic Director, Mrs. Rachel Loftus, the Director of PPS, Mrs. Kathy O'Hare, who is our Elementary School Principal, Mrs. Jennifer Cuomo, our Middle School Guidance Counselor, and all of our faculty, staff, and students. I'd like to also recognize Mrs. Kathy Battiato, Mrs. Patty Goodrich, Mrs. Carrie Piccarello, Mr. Nick Patel, and Mr. Jeff Rodman for all of their support and assistance in helping organize the ceremony. During the ceremony today, you'll hear speeches from Mr. Petrolek, Mrs. Cuomo, and middle school students representing our 8th grade, Andre Jenkins and Memphis Bailey. Good evening, class of 2024. It's an honor to stand here today and celebrate your accomplishments as you prepare to move up to the high school. As truly honored as I am, I'm also a little saddened that I'm standing here addressing you virtually. There's nothing more I would love than to be here with you today, celebrating this accomplishment in person. It's a common theme at Moving Up ceremonies for the principal to give a speech and discuss the challenges that you're going to face as you enter the 9th grade. I wish I could tell you exactly what those challenges will look like. You see, after 18 years of working in education, I can tell you what a 9th grade transition looks like. I can discuss the challenges that you'll face with an increased workload and with the New York State Regents exams and the pressures that you're going to face as you prepare to enter college and the workforce down the line. But next year will be different. We don't know exactly what we're going to be facing when school opens up next fall. It's going to be different than any time we have ever opened up our school doors before. You're going to experience a different transition than any group of 9th graders have ever faced. But look deep inside yourselves. Think about the challenges that you've already faced this year alone. After spending years using Chromebooks in your educational experience, we experienced a cyber attack, and the instruction changed, and you needed to adjust. We eventually regained that technology in January, and then in March, school closed. Your method of instruction changed again. You were put on remote instruction. You didn't get to see your friends. Some of you didn't get to see your relatives. You weren't able to go to the castle, the pizza place, or the Chester Six movies. There was no Little League, no softball, no travel sports, no dance, no gymnastics, no art lessons, no music, no drama. Everything was canceled. But you know what? We're all still here. And we all still are moving up. And we are all still classmates, and we're all still handball strong. You know, when I was in 8th grade, my young mind feared communism as we were engulfed in a Cold War with the Soviet Union. Then when I entered into 9th grade, the Berlin Wall came down, and the world came together. We're going through many challenges today. We have COVID-19. We have a country that is divided, and tensions are high in our communities. But I know, just when you think things couldn't get any worse, the Berlin Wall came down and the world became a better place. We will get through these challenges. We will get back to our regular school lives. And we will be better, more compassionate, more understanding people. We are handball strong and nobody can keep us down. My advice to you, moving up to 9th grade, work hard, be respectful, be open to change, listen to your parents and guardians, and be good to others. When you walk across that stage in 2024, social distancing will be a memory, and your lives will be changing again as you graduate from high school. We're starting a new journey together, and we control our own destinies. I'm confident that this group can accomplish anything that they put their mind to. Congratulations to the class of 2024 on all your accomplishments, and we look forward to starting your next journey in September. And now, Mrs. Cuomo.
Good evening, 8th grade students, families of 8th grade students, Board of Education members, Mr. Petrolak, Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Aguilar, Mrs. Loftus, and my fellow colleagues. I would like to start by saying that it has been a year like no other. We have all been handed a set of unprecedented circumstances this school year, beginning with a computer network issue early on and ending with COVID-19. Looking back, no one could have seen any of this coming. However, we have all risen to the challenges that have been handed to us, and in my opinion, exceeded expectations. Students, I have had the privilege to work with you over the past 3 years. I remember seeing your little faces on the floor of the elementary school library as you anxiously asked me questions about the middle school. Would I get lost in the academy? Will anyone stuff me in a locker? Will homework count? How will I ever get from class to class in 3 minutes? Those were wonderful questions as 5th graders about to begin this new journey of middle school. As you transitioned to the building, you all did a great job opening your lockers, finding your way around the building, and balancing the homework load of a 6th grader. You continued your journey into 7th grade and became more confident in your role as an academy student. Many of you started taking a foreign language, joined a music class, played on our sports teams, and did some amazing PBL projects in your classrooms. 8th grade showed up in the blink of an eye. Finally, seniors of middle school. The teachers started giving you more freedom and also preparing you for high school. Many of you were able to enroll in new electives and start to plan your last year in middle school. Unfortunately, once March arrived, 2020 had other plans. I am sorry for each and every one of you that some of the end of the year opportunities were taken away. We would have loved to watch you enjoy all of those events. However, as we know, this was no one's fault. I want you all now to think about the future. Think of these exciting years to come as Chester Academy High School students. Start making plans. Write down your goals. Think of all the opportunities that lie ahead. You have so many exciting opportunities at your fingertips as you embark on the next 4 years. I challenge each of you to think of at least one new way you will step outside your comfort zone and try something new. A sport, a club, a leadership position. It has been a pleasure being your counselor for the past 3 years. I have enjoyed working with each and every one of you, as well as your families. I wish you all the best of luck on your new journey.
Hello, my name is Dennis Petrolak, and I'm the Superintendent of the Chester School District. I would like to start my remarks by acknowledging and thanking members of the Board of Education and administration that support our students. Our board president, Mr. Frank Sambetz, our vice president, Ms. Sandy Nagler, board trustees Dawn Guevara, Keith Brideweeser, and John Pashiknik. I would also like to recognize and commend the Chester Academy administration for their leadership during this most unusual year. As you know, this has been a year like no other, and our new principal, Mr. Flanagan, and assistant principal, Mr. Aguilar, have provided calm, steady, and creative guidance through unprecedented times. Well done, Mr. Flanagan and Mr. Aguilar, and thank you. 8th grade is an important year in a person's development. It is that time in life when a child passes from being a child and moves into young adulthood. During this past year, you have all grown physically, intellectually, and socially. You have all grown taller, developed muscles, and sprouted facial hair, some of you. Some of you are taking high school courses, doing advanced math that your parents may have a hard time doing, and are reading books that challenge you to think more deeply. Books like To Kill a Mockingbird or 12 Angry Men. Your relationships with others are changing. Through some tough experiences, you have learned that your friends can let you down. You have also learned that true friendship is precious and that one true friend is more valuable than 10,000 likes on TikTok. In the hierarchy of middle school, becoming an 8th grader makes you the big dog, the top of the food chain, the kings and the queens of the hill. While that statement may make 8th graders seem arrogant or bossy, it is actually reflective of that stage in life where a young person starts to see himself or herself differently. You are no longer that 6th grade kid who couldn't open a locker and worried about getting lost going to the art room. You're no longer that 7th grader who thought he or she knew everything because you made it through 6th grade and you knew which line was the fastest in the cafeteria. You have become a young adult who has successfully navigated middle school and feels a sense of accomplishment. You have grown to realize that you are not a child anymore and are a person who has a voice and deserves to be heard. This is called agency, the knowledge and ability to make a difference in your own life and in the life of others around you. But you are also feeling a little anxious about going into high school. Will I be able to make the team? Will I be able to do the work? What happens if I get bad grades and can't get into college? These may be some of the questions that you may ask yourself. Going into high school is a big deal. The work will be harder. It's harder to make the team, and relationships will become even more challenging. And you will get through it. And not only will you get through it, but you will thrive. You will continue to get smarter, stronger, and more wise. And you will get into college if you make the effort. That's not to say that there won't be times where you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or disappointed. That comes with the territory. It's part of that growing process that's called experience, and it's part of developing agency. You will overcome these challenges and successfully navigate high school, just as you did middle school. But what will you do with your agency, your ability to make a difference in the world? Will you use it, or will you lose it? The 1960s were a tumultuous time in our country. During the early 1960s, a New York senator by the name of Robert F. Kennedy, the younger brother of John F. Kennedy, fought for changes in our society. He fought for civil rights and social justice. He was an important figure in the civil rights movement and walked with Martin Luther King demanding equal rights. And he traveled around the world speaking out against injustice and for human rights. In a speech given in South Africa in 1966, Robert Kennedy spoke out against apartheid as he encouraged people to join him in acting against injustice. It involves the effect of a pebble thrown into a pond. Think about what happens when you throw a pebble into a pond. It creates a ripple, and the ripple grows wider and wider and wider until it eventually sweeps across the whole pond, a tiny pebble. As you prepare to step into young adulthood and start to think about who you want to be, I would like to share with you Robert Kennedy's words from 1966, which spoke to the power that we all have within us. It is from numberless, diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man or woman stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he or she sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. This quote reminds us that none of us are powerless, that we all have within us the ability to affect change. And if we all act together, we can affect large-scale change. So I hope that the next time that you throw a rock into a pond, you will remember Robert Kennedy and his 1966 South Africa speech. Also, if you happen to visit Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C., I hope that you will have the time to visit Robert Kennedy's burial site, where you will find this speech carved in stone above a pond with a perpetual ripple running across it. So as I begin my closing to my remarks, I would like to share with you another quote that Robert Kennedy used during his 1968 presidential campaign. Some men or women see things as they are and ask why. I dream things that never were and ask why not. Congratulations, 8th graders. Go on and do great things. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Andre Jenkins, and I am a graduating 8th grade student at Chester Academy. I would like to welcome Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Aguilar, Ms. Cuomo, teachers, families, and fellow graduating students. I especially want to welcome and thank my parents for all their dedication and support. It is because of all these people and our self-determination that we have been able to achieve so much in the past 3 middle school years. Throughout these years, we've had to endure entering many new stages in our life, like the start of 6th grade all the way through the experiences of schooling from home. As we enter a new stage in our lives, high school, I am sure that we will continue developing great teacher-student relationships. We will continue having experiences that will teach us even more knowledge and skills. But above all, we will have experiences that will guide us in finding our true passion in life. To me, passion means having a strong feeling about something. Passion gives you the desire and willingness to pursue your goals no matter what anyone else thinks or says. It also means that you will move through your next 4 years with confidence and perseverance to achieve what you love. So throughout these next 4 years, I challenge you to find your passion, to use these next years to really figure out how all these experiences will fit together to create the new you. Thank you, and congratulations to you all.
Middle school was the worst years of my life, is what we hear from every adult ever. Now for me, middle school has given me some of the best memories. Of course, middle school had its rough patches, but it's been a learning experience that I never want to forget. For everybody, middle school is a transition. It's a time where you find your identity, your friends, and your interests. A side effect of growing is growing pains. But in the end, it's worth it. As we leave middle school as our best selves, we go into high school with an open heart and an open mind for learning. The class of 2024 has been a strong one from the start. We entered kindergarten excited to be big kids and go to school. Little did we know about the adventure school would take us on. The classroom setting seemed so foreign to us, but would soon grow. We met our teachers, who may only have had us for a year, but their influence will affect us for a lifetime. Every field day, every assembly, every in-school concert burned into our brains as a memory. Elementary school builds the foundation of our school career, and what better place to do that than in Chester? Fast forward to middle school. We all remember our first day, for better or worse. It was a reset, a new habitat, new rules, new way of life. A scary time, but a meaningful one. Along with new environments came new friends and new interests. No one was the same person at the end of 6th grade that they were in the beginning. Thank goodness. The next year rolled around, and we made it through that one too. Our bonds with our friends became stronger. We became comfortable in school. We learned not just in classrooms, but outside of them as well. Just like the year before, we became new people. And last, but in no possible way least, 8th grade, our last year here. No kid will forget this year. Hurdle after hurdle, we jumped over them and kept going. Whether it was the internet shutting down or the school shutting off, we learned how to work with what we got. The transition to online learning went smoothly and quickly. We adapted and changed in order to get our education. Middle school may seem like it's only about academics, when in reality, it's about adaptation. We were put in a new place, and we learned how to thrive in it, keeping our heads up and raising our hands. These years were the most important for us in becoming our finest selves. The era of middle school has now ended, and high school begins. We start to feel the butterflies migrate back to our stomach, excited and scared for the new and unknown. These feelings are normal and necessary, but I can assure you that just like in 6th grade, we will learn quickly and thrive. We will once again make new friends, find new interests, and become new people. If I could leave you with one thing from this speech, it would be that you've made the transition before, and you're going to do it again even greater. I know everybody listening to this speech can cringe at themselves from 6th grade, and that's amazing. It means you've changed. You're a changed person, a new person, and a better person. That's what made the journey worth it. Now get ready to do it for a second time. Get excited for the new chapter of high school, and in tough times say, I made it through middle school, I can get through this too. Thank you.
Teddy Akasela, Ariana Aziz, Jesus Barragan, Memphis Bailey, Santino Benjamin, Robert Berkeley, Celine Bermudez, David Bermudez, Jalen Blackwell, Eric Bloom, Krista Bucci, Jordan Burgos, Brittany Caban, Stephen Castellonia, Lenin Casares Quinto, Isla Shaluizen, Brandon Cruz, Nicholas Kirchie, Elijah Curtis, Imani Curtis, Clifford Daniel, Jamie D'Antonio, Brianna Darson, Jaden Delgado, Miranda Delgado, Braden Detweiler, Skylar Dewhurst, Aristu Easley, Haley Edwards, Molly Farley, Ryan Farley, Rory Farrell, Mia Fontana, Ashley Fordham, Shania Frazier, Jason Garcia, Rasleen Guliani, Brandy Gilbert, Daniel Gorman, Joseph Grossi, Amani Harewood, Angeli Hernandez, Jocelyn Hernandez Sanchez, Caitlin Higgins, Michael Hitchka, Thomas Highland, Tyshawn James, Michaela Jeffers, Andre Jenkins, Josiah Jimenez, Dora Jones, Ted Joseph, Mia Kelly, Grace Knight, Natalia Laboy, Jordan Lawrence, Diana Lopez Vasquez, Brianna Mariconi, Jalen McLean, Matthew McIntosh, Sabrina Meinsen, Michael Miller, Carla Montesinos, Donovan Mooney, Aidan Mulholland, Bianca Numa, Isabel O'Hare, Emily Oliveira, Joshua Palomino, Jolie Perales, Kevin Pichardo, Yerlin Pimentel, Christian Pittman, Ashley Reyes, Eric Richardson, Benjamin Robert, Jaylene Ruiz, Nahal Saeed, Tyler Santangelo, Christian Santos, Danny Nicole Selg, Tanya Sinha, Zachariah St. Louis, Gabriel Zemanski, Abigail Tonis, Ariana Torres, Petrina Urso, Isabel Velasquez,
I'd like to once again thank everyone for joining us here tonight for our virtual moving up ceremony. I'd like to thank our faculty and staff for an amazing job this year working with all of our students and our 8th graders especially. I'd like to thank our parents, our community members, for also the work and the time and the effort that they put into helping with remote instruction from home. I'd like to thank our administration once again and Mr. Aguilar for always supporting me and helping out in running this remote school that we've been running since March. And most of all, I'd like to congratulate our 8th graders. The future class of 2024, the 8th grade class of 2020, congratulations guys, you did it. We'll see you in 9th grade.